archiving and knowing your story, I know I talked about saying, like, you know, looking back at all the chapters of your life, it's also important to know what happened in order for you to become like a more empathetic, passionate person, I guess. I feel like I come across people who I recognize that was me, you know, at this certain time of my life, and really being an understanding person. Sometimes when I find myself frustrated with a person in a certain, you know, whether it's a relationship or a friendship or some sort of situation, I kind of look back, I look at, you know, how old they are, where they're at in life, that sort of thing, and like, okay, I was there too, and that's how I would have reacted as well, you know. I've come across that lately. It's important to know that that was you. I hate when people are like, you know, get upset with someone, you know, because of their views at a certain time, but then when I think about who I was maybe in their shoes at that time of my life, maybe I was thinking the same thing, you know, maybe I had the same attitude about it. So that's why I think it's super important too, is just to help you understand others. Don't just write out your chapter or whatever it is, you know, metaphorically that you're doing to like chronicle that and forget about it. You know, it's good to grow and to learn from it and move on, but it's also important to understand that and to still know that it's okay that that happened. That, like, you know, you're better now, that you're stronger now, and that's what will help you to keep going. And not to be ashamed of it. Like what we were talking about last year and all those struggles and stuff.
Perfect transition. We're going to talk about what happened this past year for both of us. I'm going to give you all the short version because you already know I filmed it. But I think it's really important to hear Robert's part about like where you're at. I'm not sure if you all remember, but this past year has been really crazy for me and trying to get out of a really dark place. And you all saw the videos about where I was at and how I just didn't feel like myself. But I could honestly say, like, with this new season coming up in Phoenix, in general, like, I'm not sure if I've told you all this, but with my GoFundMe campaign and so many people supporting me, I remember looking at that tool and not feeling motivated and just like, wow, like, okay, I got it. Now what? But for the people that did support me in that campaign, I just want to say, like, you all just motivated the bejesus out of me. Like, knowing that so many people backed me up and so many people supported me, and like I said, your hard-earned dollar put towards a tool for someone else's success, like that for me was like just motivating as it is. So like if I'm being consistent and you're seeing videos and you know what I mean, you're seeing something happening, it's because in the back of my head is like, I want to make you all proud. Like, I know that you all invested in me, and I want you to be like, she's actually doing something with that, and not just like, you know, just letting it sit there and wither and die, stuff like that. But it's been a really hard year, but I hope that you all are able to see my efforts and are proud of what's happening, and knowing that a lot of content is getting pushed out for you, and that all these efforts are gonna
flourish.
They're gonna flourish soon. He's the writer. I'm just like, okay. Tell me more about your past year. I know that today marks the year of something really important.
Yeah, it kind of set things in motion a year ago. Graduated college last year, May 2014.
Post-graduation.
Go Devils. Took some time off. I was really working a lot. I was serving, and I was like 2 clubs, and I was interning, and I was president of NLGJA and the National Lesbian and Gay Journalists Association, for those of you who don't know. You know, I was doing a lot, and I was just really involved in that. After college, I was kind of like in this wandering spot, and it's funny. I like look back at pictures. I was really into kimonos, and really was this time in my life where I had to kind of cut that off for a bit and focus on myself and focus on writing. And I started noticing that I was getting more intense with my emotions because I was no longer focusing on school. I was no longer focusing on work and those sorts of things. And it was all these different emotions that were coming back up that I thought I had dealt with, or that I thought that I was cool. But as soon as you remove all that distraction of work and everything, all you have is like your thoughts. And I had to deal with it. Yes. And if I didn't deal with it, I wouldn't have been able to do what I do now. So essentially, yes. So I was going through this time in my life where I still was really not okay with how I looked and with my outward appearances. And I was having frequent meltdowns. And a lot of it took place while I was drunk at clubs, and I was just feeling so ugly, and I was kind of trying to feel something. I was kind of looking for attention, I guess, from other men to make me feel like I was, you know, beautiful or worthy. Yeah. And I feel like I kept trying to look for that in outside ways. And I was in some relationships that were, you know, friendships that I wasn't too sure about, but I was just so lost and so in my feelings of dealing with this.
Yeah.
I mean, I would just storm out of a club just because I was, upset that, I would get jealous of my friends. I felt like I was just like the ugly duckling, like the duff friend, which was something so strange, but it was something that I really, really was deep into, and it affected everything. I couldn't enjoy friends, I couldn't enjoy family, I couldn't enjoy any genuine happiness. I was just in this dark hole of that. And what was so funny is looking back at that time, a lot of it took place during Christmas time. And so when I look back at that, I'm even on Christmas Day, I was depressed, dealing with shit. And on Christmas Day, I was at Disneyland, and like the most happiest place on earth, on the happiest holiday on earth, I still was in this darkness that was still taking over me. And it wasn't until the week of my birthday that I had the biggest meltdown of my life. It was really intense, and I had suicidal thoughts, and my intent was to kill myself that night. And that's what I wanted to do, and I was just in this place where like it could have happened at any moment. And that was kind of like the turning point of like, I need to do something to help myself. And so my boss at Red Lobster, shout out girl, she connected me with a counselor right away. And I started seeing someone who was able to help me through everything that I was going through. She gave me a book by Louise Hay, and I started really having to understand that getting over something and kind of moving on and growing isn't about hiding it or shoving it away or just being like, I'm fine. One of the things that I learned is that when you're going through this, when you're trying to get better and to be healthier and be healthier in your mind and your spirit, it's a lot like soaking a greased pan.